As you can see, I've been very busy today. Hello, hello. That's new. I wasn't there this morning. I was there before that. Well, this morning it was up there. Last night I tried to install it up there, but apparently it's way too big. It makes the room extraordinarily dark and the door don't open, so... And also, I managed to get that light working, funnily enough. I can't seem to get the bits to work. I couldn't get the bits to work all day, in fact. And then suddenly this afternoon I put it, about, I don't know, 2 minutes ago I put it in and it worked. Earlier it was just flickering. Hey, no complaints. Although I am replacing it. I only bought that temporarily just so, because I smashed it. This here is a unit which matches the Polar Air split system air conditioner unit which I got a couple of days ago. I said I was going to be using it and I said I was getting another unit and the interior unit, and this is the interior unit. Now, unit itself I don't know much about. Only thing I know about it is about 14 years old. I didn't know if it had any electrical faults, if it works before I got it. All I know is the second unit I got had a broken fan. The fan motor was busted. I'm guessing that was what was wrong with it. So today, last night, I wired it all up. Not plumbing, but I rigged it up by the electricals. The compressor started. The squirrel cage blower in the bottom, it's got a twin blower in it. That was working. The coil in it is sparkling. It's brilliant, the coil in this. It's so clean. It's got a little bit of a dent up there at the moment because I don't know if you can see it. There's a little dent there. You can see the shiny bit. No, maybe it's not. Oh, there you go. You can see it there. That's because when I took this whole thing apart to clean it, and he got knocked by a ladder once or 4 times. Well, not 3 or 4 times. Once or twice. So there's just a couple of little nicks on it. It's no big deal. It's kind of a beta unit anyway, so it's slightly underrated. As the rest of my electrical system, that light is very, very slightly flickering, and it's slightly annoying. Anyway, this here is a plug which runs it. None of them well, not industrial. Well, they're domestic and industrial use, I suppose. You see them on buildings and houses, so that's the unit there. It's a little bit taken apart at the moment because it overheated earlier because I ran it too long with low refrigerant, and the refrigerant flowing around the system is actually what cools it as well. So yeah, there's the compressor and whatnot. The stuff's taken off at the moment because I was letting it cool down. I'm still holding the wall. It's a little bit wonky donkey at the moment. You can see it's closer to the wall that end. I'm gonna bolt the front of it down, but I'm not gonna bother bolting the back down because simply I can't get to it. I'm gonna go and buy some expansion bolts. In fact, I do have extension bolts, but they're too big. I don't have a drill bit big enough for them. So, he does run. It's turned on there. It's turned on here. How many degrees is it out here? 2. 2 degrees. So, we'll start it up on heating. Doesn't do anything because, of course, there's no refrigerant in the system. The fan on it won't. Both fans don't do anything. I'm guessing. I'm hoping they'll only start working once it gets to a certain temperature. There's a temperature sensor on here and on the coils on here and out there. Now this here is remotely warm. It's not hot, but it's warm. I might try it again tomorrow morning, just waiting for the gases to settle. Really, it seems to be getting colder. It's running on heating at the moment, so I should actually be getting hotter, not colder. What's the discharge? Well, the smaller line. It's running in heat mode at the moment, so in theory, this one here should be hotter. It's actually colder. Oh well. On the compressor itself, you won't be able to see much here, but that's the output line from the compressor. It's barely warm, but if I touch it right at the compressor, it's still warm. It's not hot. It's just very low. It runs R22. Let's turn it off. If I turn it off, listen to this. I'll turn it off from the inside. When you turn it off, it cuts the power to the reversing valve, and all of a sudden it just releases the pressure on one side of the compressor. I'm not sure if it's actually meant to do that. Someone please tell me. I'm not honestly sure if it's supposed to do that. Oh well. There's no valves on this thing, so I put all the flanges and crap on it today. I found a very simple way of doing it. Grab the pipe, like so. You grab your needle nose pliers, jam them in there, press down and turn. What ends up happening, you get a small flange on there. It's not brilliant, but make sure you put your fitting over there first. Like this thing here, you want to put this in. You slag. Okay, you want to put this fitting here on first, so it's going to slid down here. Once you've got the flange on there, you have trouble getting this on, I'm telling you. I did it twice today. So, this is the one which came off of this unit here, because I couldn't get the slag off. I ended up having to take my angle grinder to it, and cut it into slots down it. I tried heating it, I tried hammering it, I tried everything to get this little bitch off, and it wouldn't work. I'm not sure if the vibrations in the end of just angle grinding got it off, but the plan was actually going to be to cut it down until I can see the threads like that, jam a screwdriver in there, and just twist to buggery. Just turn it as hard as I could damn well turn it, because brass isn't exactly the kind of metal that will bend. It's the kind of metal which will just break. I didn't actually take into account that there's still quite a fair bit of metal in places, so I didn't think about that. In the end it didn't break, but doing 2 slots, I was stuck with a vice grips on it and it turned off happily. Oh well, I'm not complaining, but it came off. Heat, if you're thinking it was heat that got it off, I tried that. I used this thing here. I heated it up until it actually stopped smoking and all the oil was burnt off and I couldn't actually touch it because it was so hot. And that didn't work either. I suppose though it would actually heat would transfer to the other part of the whatchamacallit, and yeah. Anyway, I'll show you how I made this flange. Because I had 2 of those exterior units, what I did, if I can find it, oh, it's there in it. I grabbed this valve. You can see it's got a taper on it. There. Yeah, there's a tape on that. I shoved that into the valve. Into the tube, sorry. I use this as an example, just because this is what I did. I kind of put that in there, and I hammered on this side here. And because that taper there, then actually forces the metal outwards, and makes it to the same that's at. But another thing, then tighten it up onto the valve, and then loosen it off before you put it on the thing. That's what I did, just because the fact. I did that for the sole reason that then you can take it off and you can check it and make sure that it's not uneven. Otherwise you could have one section where it's got a huge flange, and then the flange could be actually, it's like if you put a tap into a hole wonky, it actually starts to cut at an angle. If you do the flange at the wrong angle, you have one side folded over pretty far, the other side got barely a flange on it. So once just tapping downwards on this, and it might look pretty even, but if you put it on and tighten up the whatever this is, I'm not even sure what it's called. You tighten it up and it'll actually finish to set that flange you've made on there. It'll actually, the inside of that will pinch that bevel. That's what it does. And that will actually bend it further. And then you can take it off and actually make sure it's done properly, otherwise you're going to stick it onto your compressor, think everything's right, open your valves and it will begin to leak. So, or it will, you won't be able to hear it leaking and it will slowly leak out overnight. Actually, I came to the conclusion that actually listening to one of these things very carefully, you can hear stuff leaking out if you think the valves are shut when they're not. It leaks out very slowly, especially if it's the high pressure discharge from the compressor. You can have it all the way open. Well, not all the way open, but you can have it, I don't know, it don't have to be open loads, but the hissing coming from it's not exactly loud because the compressor slows it down. Anyway, enough babbling. That's how I made the flanges for it. Pretty simple, I suppose. It's a lot of work with a hacksaw. I suppose I should have used a pipe cutter. Yes, I did cut all my parts with a hacksaw, but don't worry, I cleaned them before I installed them, so there is no metal filings floating around in this thing. If there is, there's not many of them. And I did flush them all out. I cleaned them all with hot soapy water, then I used my heat gun to make every single one at least 150 degrees from that heat gun. That thing makes, I've made screwdriver tips go red hot with this gun before, so heating up a copper tube is going to be no problem. They're perfectly dry when I put them on. So, that's that. What I have to do now is get it recharged with R410A refrigerant. I'm going to take the filters out tonight and go and clean them. See you guys later.